Masks are no longer required in many places for people who are fully vaccinated, but most kids can't get vaccinated yet. So tonight we speak with a pediatrician who shares some tips to keep you and your kiddos safe.
Today, a man accused of shooting a woman in an act of road rage on Saturday pleaded not guilty. KREM 2 spoke with the suspect. Tonight, he tells us it was self-defense.
We are tracking major changes in your weather, including windy weather and a cool down. Your forecast is next.
Just awesome, the whole ceremony.
Sandpoint native and NFL Hall of Famer Jerry Kramer added another title to his impressive resume with an honorary degree from his alma mater, the University of Idaho. His message to the class of 2021 tonight. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 6. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
Welcome everyone. I'm Whitney Ward. Well, it was certainly welcome news for many people last week that masks are no longer going to be required in many settings as long as you are fully vaccinated.
But what about children? Many are still too young to get vaccinated. So as more and more people start taking off the masks, what are the best practices for families? Our Casey Decker took these questions to a local pediatrician tonight.
Fully vaccinated people are no longer required by the state to wear masks in public. That means 2 weeks after your first dose, you can go maskless unless a specific business asks you to keep it on. But kids ages 12 to 15 only recently became eligible for the Pfizer shot, meaning it'll be a few more weeks before they're fully vaccinated, and kids under the age of 12 still can't get a shot at all. The state says this means those kids do have to keep wearing masks in public, and a pediatrician we spoke with says that's definitely the safest course of action.
I think right now the best policy is, kids should continue to wear their masks. I think in order to model good behavior, parents should wear their masks too when they're out in those public situations. Kids do whatever their parents do for the most part, for good or for bad. And so if parents can model that good behavior, or even older siblings model that good behavior, it's going to be easier for the younger kids to do it.
There was some concern at the beginning of the pandemic that kids in particular would have trouble complying with mask requirements, but most research so far suggests that hasn't been the case.
What we've seen is the complete opposite. The kids have been great. They've been very, they're very black and white, very rule followers. And so they knew that they were supposed to wear their mask. Yeah, kids will do whatever they need to see friends and be around people. And truly that good modeling by parents or older siblings is key.
So even though the virus is usually milder with children, if you've got them, it's probably best for your whole family to stay masked up in public for the time being, whether or not you're vaccinated.
They tend to not get as sick, although some kids can get quite ill. And I feel like as a parent, even that very low percentage, if it's your kid, that's a lot.
Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
President Joe Biden has announced the U.S. will share 80 million vaccine doses globally over the next 6 weeks. The move comes as states all across the country grapple with the new CDC mask guidance for people who are fully vaccinated.
Because we've done so much here, because of the power of American companies, research, and manufacturing, we can continue to do more to help the rest of the world.
But here at home, there is controversy and confusion over the CDC's latest guidance saying fully vaccinated Americans can ditch their masks outdoors and in most cases indoors. Large retailers like Walmart and Trader Joe's say they will no longer require masks for fully vaccinated customers. But some retailers like Kroger and Home Depot say they are keeping the mask policies, at least for now. At least 60% of Americans have now received at least one COVID vaccine shot, putting the nation closer to President Biden's goal of having 70% of adults vaccinated by Independence Day. Nationwide, new COVID cases have plummeted. The 7-day average peaked at roughly 250,000 a day in January, now just over 33,000 a day, down nearly 87%.
And as we take a look at our local numbers in Spokane County, health officials are reporting 44 new coronavirus cases today. That brings the total number of infections since the start of the pandemic to 43,811. There were also 2 new deaths reported today. Currently, 72 people are hospitalized.
Spokane Public Schools will provide free Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines to all students ages 12 to 18 in the region. The vaccine clinics will continue through the month of May. They'll be held at Lewis and Clark, North Central, Ferris, Shado Park, and Rogers High Schools. The dates for each vaccine clinic right there on your screen. Parents, you can use or sign up rather using the SPS website. Again, parents do not need to be present during the actual vaccinations. If you'd like more information, just text the word vaccine to 509-448-2000.
Well, it was certainly a beautiful weekend across the inland Northwest, and it was a beautiful Monday as well, but changes are afoot. So Tom Sherry is actually outside right now in our KREM 2 Outdoor Weather Center. As we talk about the changes, what do you think we need to be getting ready for at least tomorrow, Tom?
Well, I think we're going to see much cooler weather, so the whole shorts and sandals thing is going to be over for tomorrow. We're going to see temperatures more in line with what they should be for this year, actually even a little bit below average. And you can tell we've got changes going on. The wind is blowing. We've seen peak wind gusts of 30 miles per hour now out at the Spokane airport. Still pretty darn pleasant, 77. We won't see that again, at least this week. When you take a look at the Doppler radar, you've got rain now moving into the west side of the state. Some very light showers out towards the Wenatchee area. We'll see increasing clouds in the overnight hours and mostly cloudy skies by tomorrow morning. Some of the wind gusts that I talked about across the area, 31-mile-an-hour wind gust was 30. Now we're up to 31 here in Spokane. 30-mile-an-hour wind gust out towards Moses Lake. 30-mile-an-hour wind gust also down in the Pullman area. We'll look for an overnight low of 49 degrees. Should see a daytime high of only 72. So we got up to in the upper 70s today here in the Spokane area. Tomorrow just barely into the low 60s. And again, that's below average. We're normally around 67 or 68 degrees. When we take a look at your day planner or your weekend forecast, I should say, we'll look for high tomorrow or high Saturday of 70 degrees and then 71 expected on Sunday. Slight chance of showers over the weekend, and we need the rain. Much better chance of rain this coming Thursday. I'll take a look at your 10-day outlook, all coming up in a few minutes.
Sounds good, Tom. One of the reasons we like Tom is he always gives us the weekend forecast, even on Monday, right?
Yes.
Something to look forward to.
Why not?
Right, go. All right, well, Governor Jay Inslee is taking action today aimed at protecting the environment. He signed several bills into law this afternoon.
So one is going to change what comes with your next takeout meal. Environmental reporter from our Seattle sister station, Michael Crow, has the details.
Governor Jay Inslee in King County today, making several stops to sign key pieces of environmental legislation, starting off at the Seattle Aquarium, signing SB 5022, banning plastics like disposable styrofoam coolers and to-go containers, instructing restaurants to only provide single-use plastic utensils when requested, and other recycling rules.
We know that limiting single-use plastics and how much plastic we use will decrease the demand for oil and move us toward a greater sustainable future. This bill also helps reduce plastic pollution reaching our beautiful beaches and our beautiful oceans, and will protect the wildlife that is behind me.
Inslee signed that along with an environmental justice directive and clean fuels standard, part of his slate of climate legislation. Ocean plastics are a growing threat globally and in Puget Sound, says UW environmental science professor Joel Baker.
We know from lots of studies of the issue that a lot of the plastic that ends up in the ocean is single-use consumer products. So cutting it off at the source is far more effective than trying to go out on a boat and pick up all the trash.
And while Washington's impact may be relatively small on the national and global stage, he says every bit counts.
You know, the drop in the bucket question is always a tough one, because there's lots of people in the world, and everyone has to chip in, right? Does it make a difference? Absolutely. Is it a big difference? Is it big enough to turn the needle, globally? Probably not. But leadership's important, right? And you sort of have to take care of your own backyard before you lead by example.
Michael Crow, King 5 News.
Well, our unseasonably dry and warm spring has us headed into an earlier and longer fire season. This morning, our Up with KREM team spoke with DNR's Public Lands Commissioner Hillary Franz about how we can work together to make this year's fire season a mild one. Take a listen.
We're already in fire season. Fact is, DNR responded to 218 fires in April. That shatters all the previous records. Over the last 10 years, we might have had 50 fires on average in April. Last year, we remember, was a horrific year. We had 160 fires in April. So we are already gearing up for the fact that it is going to be a hot, dry summer. It is going to be a tough fire season, and we're predicting it's going to be especially tough, again, in eastern Washington.
So a new campaign is making it easier for Washington homeowners to at least prepare for wildfire season. Commissioner Franz launched the Wildfire Ready Neighbors campaign last month in Spokane County. And for all the details, you can text the word READY to 509-448-2000, and we will send you all that information on how an expert can help you create a wildfire preparedness plan. It's if you live in Chelan, Okanogan, or Spokane counties.